What's going on, everybody? It is the one and only Q here from Retro Q Gaming, and of course, I am here today to remind everybody that Sony broke a bunch of fanboy minds earlier this year when they announced Horizon Zero Dawn for PC. That's right, the former PS4 exclusive, which is no longer, or come August 7th when it actually releases, will no longer be a PS4 exclusive. Well, fanboys are not too happy. But it does prove something, and something that I've always said, something that I've always maintained, and something that has always been 100% true. Guerrilla Games knows this, I know this, everyone with working cognitive functions knows this, and that is that the PC version of every game will be the best game, and the best version. Why? Because the PC makes everything better. Now in this video we're going to break it down into two different parts because first off, yes, Guerrilla Games have announced that August 7th is the PC release date on Steam and the Epic Games Store for Horizon Zero Dawn Complete Edition. Comes with the base game, the expansion, and almost all of the extra pre-order packs and DLC and whatnot too. There's only one that's excluded, I believe, because it includes some Sony characters or something along those lines. But first off, we're going to talk a little bit about minimum and recommended requirements, which have also been published today. And then after that, we're going to talk about all of the bells and whistles afforded to the PC version, aka the best version of Horizon Zero Dawn. Anyway, we can blow through these requirements fairly quickly because we have, first off, minimum requirements. A 64-bit processor and operating system. If you don't have this in 2020, please stop playing modern games. So you need Windows 10 64-bit. That's right, it does not work on Windows 7 or 8. You need a processor that is an Intel i5-2500K at 3.3 GHz or above, or an AMD FX 6300 at 3.5 GHz or above. It's important to note here that this Intel Core i5-2500K is a 9-year-old mid-range CPU. Also requires 8 GB of RAM. On the graphics card front, you're looking at an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 780 3GB or an AMD Radeon R9 294GB. It's worth noting that GTX 7800 is a 7-year-old GPU. Of course, this will be a DirectX 12 version game only, which it definitely should be. And you will require 100 GB of available storage space, which is over twice the size of the console version, leading to how much better quality and better everything it's going to be. Recommended specs are not that much higher. It is worth noting that recommended does not usually mean maxed out, but it usually means the recommended experience. Maybe some medium or high settings, 1080p, 60 FPS, that kind of thing. Anyway, recommended specs obviously require a 64-bit processor and operating system, Windows 10 64-bit. A CPU, you are looking at the Intel Core i7-4770K at 3.5 GHz or Ryzen 5 1500X at 3.5 GHz. It's important to note that Core i7-4770K is a 7-year-old CPU. 16 GB of RAM. An NVIDIA GTX 1066GB or an AMD Radeon RX 580 8GB. It's important to note that GTX 1060 is an entry-level 4-year-old GPU. Of course, DirectX 12 and 100GB of storage space, that all still applies. Now, using all the glorious power and benefit and quality that only the glorious PC gaming master race can afford to these games as it elevates them, as it lifts them up onto their pedestal to ascend to a proper quality game that anyone, any game, any person should be worthy of. What benefits can you take advantage of through all of this? Well, you can get ultra-wide support for your monitors. That's right. No matter what monitor you have, if you have a 21:9 monitor or something along those lines, the game will properly support it. Certain games on ultra-wide monitors have different letterbox setups or pillar box setups, but this game natively properly supports it. So if you're one of the 17 people out there that games on an ultra-wide monitor, Guerrilla Games have you covered. Oh, and of course, it's PC, so that's a native resolution. No checkerboarding here, baby. And of course, it wouldn't be fair. If we're talking about resolution, of course, we are talking about frame rate. And naturally, because this is the glorious PC Gaming Master Race, and the best version, aka the PC version of a game, well, we have unlocked frame rates. That's right, you are no longer confined to the sluggish, choppy, judder-filled mess that is 30 frames per second on a console. You've got a more interactive world and a more lush forest because this game will have dynamic foliage, thanks to all this beautiful processing power. More importantly, at least from what I'm told about other people who have played the console version, the PC version has a field of view slider. Apparently, it's very, very poor field of view on a console. I'm not going to comment on that myself. I have not played it or experienced it. But almost everyone I've talked to who has and who has enjoyed it has had issues with the FOV. Thankfully, these are PC games. These are proper PC versions. We can fix your latent native console pleb problems. And for those of you out there who don't follow the same ethos that I do when it comes to PC gaming, which in my case I believe that the reason I game on PC is to get the best and highest quality experience, so I love expensive, high-end, powerful hardware, I realize that that's not for everyone. So do Guerrilla Games. So they have settings like adaptive frame rate, which basically means dynamic resolution and quality settings in order to keep a target frame rate. Because let's face it, not everyone wants to pump 5 or 6 grand into a computer to get the best. But maybe they don't want to settle and play a piece of shit PS4 Pro version. So maybe they're somewhere in the middle. Maybe they still want 60 FPS. Maybe they don't have a console. Guerrilla Games and the PC Gaming Master Race have you covered. And then for people like me on the opposite end of the spectrum, we have render scale. That's right, they offer super sampling rendering as well. Because let's face it, all of these beast mode PC graphics cards, well, they shit on even next gen, let alone current gen. So why not use all that glorious processing power, that GPU grunt, those CPU big brain calculations, and render at a super high resolution to get an even cleaner, clearer, better picture quality overall. And it doesn't stop there at the basic standard stuff, because they've went and done things like improved reflections, because naturally everything is higher resolution on PC, you need higher resolution assets, you need higher resolution quality, effects, and of course, reflections. And because no one knows how it's going to run on their hardware just yet, they've even included a benchmarking tool. That's right, Horizon Zero Dawn on PC will have a benchmark, so you can tweak, test, finagle, whatever way, whatever setting, whatever you need to do to get your optimized experience for your hardware. And of course, something that is always extremely important to note and very, very welcome, and something that I will always praise. Remember that 100 gigabytes of available storage space? Well, that's because everything is higher quality than the console version. All of those beautiful ultra settings, all of those extra uncompressed assets, the higher resolution assets because, well, let's face it, native resolution and above. So you can look forward to an overall better quality game in every single way. But that's it. I want to welcome Guerrilla Games to the glorious PC Gaming Master Race. I can't wait to see more of your games as well as more of your brother and sister games. Although, let's face it, you can keep The Last of Us Part 2. We don't need that sullying our beautiful, beautiful gaming machines. But anyway, welcome to the glorious PC Gaming Master Race, and thank you once again for proving my point that the PC delivers the best version of every single game.